What's going on there, guys? Good evening. Good Friday evening. Finally Friday, right? It is the Earthmaster here on the live stream with an update video on this beautiful evening out here along the West Coast, California. May 27th, 2022 is the date. About 7:04 p.m. California time. The latest quake shows some activity on the Earthquake 3D globe up in Alaska with a 1.3. Also kicking up here on the globe, some movement just south here off the coast of the South America region. Before we get into earthquake activity real quick, I do want to bring up a little shout out to some super fans that have joined this channel. They are listed up here on the screen right now. Robert, thank you very much for being a super fan. The Fly Lady, John, Jay Fuentes, 347, I appreciate you guys a lot. Albert Sanchez Jr., and Dolores, those folks right there are super fan members, and they will be provided some exclusive content here, some behind the scenes stuff, and also some non-earthquake related items there in future videos. So if you are interested in becoming a super fan, we're just kind of rolling it out right now, so we do have a little system that we have to put into effect in terms of getting some good content out to those super fans. But nothing's going to change here on the channel far as the regular subscribers go. This is just for those that would kind of like maybe a little peek behind the Earthmaster and Missy Mimi's lives here on this end on a more personal note. And not everyone does, but hey, for those that want to, you guys are welcome to join. All right, let's go into the earthquake activity currently taking place here around the globe. There is that a little bit of movement there into the Chile area. Let me see if I make sure I got the most recent earthquake map, which I do. We've seen a little bit of swarming and some moderate earthquake activity kicking up here along the Indonesia region, right around the area where we've seen that 6.2 last night. Papua New Guinea did have an earthquake here within the last hour, a 4.4 in that vicinity. I want to pull up the earthquakes map here from the EMSC CSEM model. There's the earthquake that popped up there on the globe, not being reported yet by the USGS. That's going to be a 4.0. Up here, looks like it's just off of the coast of Ecuador. It's going to be the purple circle right there. Kind of an odd movement earthquake most of the time here, or at least over the past couple days. We've been seeing a swarm of movement here deep into the Peru-Chile Trench. Now we're getting a little bit more shallower earthquake activity up to the north. Got to watch that pretty closely. South America region has been building up quite a bit of stress, and also been having some large earthquakes here recently. Let's go ahead and go back to the model here real quick, see if anything else is showing up here on the EMSC model that the USGS may not be reporting. Got a little swarm of earthquake activity off the Middle America Trench, and some movement once again into the Papua New Guinea area, but I believe the USGS is showing that activity. Just double checking and verifying, right? Because I kind of like to compare the two different agencies when it comes to the earthquake activity globally. Up around the Mariana Trench around Guam, did have a 4.5. That one kicking up. Well, that was yesterday. That's actually a older earthquake. Still on the map though because of the 24-hour period. And up here around the Japan area, about the same. This one here from yesterday as well. Far as recent movement along the Pacific Plate here, we've not seen a whole lot throughout the area, the western portion, northwestern portion of the Pacific Ring of Fire, up into the Alaska region. We'll go ahead and pull up the all magnitudes here, see if we can pop up any more. It doesn't look like it wants to. So only a couple scattered earthquakes today, mostly in the 3 range throughout the Aleutian Trench. This area has been pretty active in terms of earthquake movement around some unmonitored or unassigned volcanoes out there. Throughout the mainland there of Alaska, just some movement up north of Anchorage and around Denali, with a couple small microquakes throughout the vicinity of that area. Let's go ahead and check out the western coast of the United States. Not a whole lot popping up here into the Washington and Oregon area. And if you notice here into the Northern California area, nothing at all showing up whatsoever. So I do want to pull up a little screenshot image that I took earlier. Let me bring this up here real quick for you guys. Stand by for just a second. There we go. So this is, of course, the program called G. It does monitor live seismograph stations, and that's kind of what I provide here on the channel in terms of monitoring stations. So if you look here, this was just a few hours ago at the Petrolia station in Northern California. Pretty well-defined signature of an earthquake. I'd probably guessing that's somewhere around a 2.0, possibly higher, maybe a 2.5. Just judging by the amplitude counts here. Very well-defined earthquake there at Petrolia. That's just right around the Eureka area. And once again, if you take a look at the map, folks, I'm going to start doing this. Every time I see an earthquake pop up here and the USGS doesn't report it, I'm going to I'm kind of going to throw them under the bus, I guess. You know, it's been happening a lot here in Northern California. We've been seeing quite a bit of earthquake activity on the Petrolia station, which sits here in this area, and nothing showing up. This is the all magnitudes map. That wasn't a train. It wasn't a truck driving down the interstate. It wasn't a ice quake. It was definitely a well-defined earthquake, and nothing showing up here. And about the same for the EMSC model. We'll get to the tremor map here in a little bit. I think you guys be pretty surprised at that. So Northern California, let me squeeze in here and see if the EMSC is reporting anything, which are not. And you know, they pretty much follow the USGS notification service to an extent. Here on the EMSC model, yes, only a little earthquake activity reported throughout the Bay Area and southward, but nothing, folks, on the Petrolia station. I don't like it. I don't like when activity happens and the folks fail to report it on a Friday in the mid-afternoon. Guys, if you need help, let me know. Are you guys short-staffed? I'm kind of in school right now for geology, physical science and whatnot, trying to get my degree in that aspect. Maybe one day I'll be working for the USGS and make this a little bit more transparent for the public. We'll see. Maybe that might be my goal. Either way, nothing showing up, as long as I don't make them too mad, right? Throwing them under the bus. I'm just kind of reporting the activity that I see on the live seismographs and comparing it to the lack of transparency here with the earthquake reporting. All right, moving on. Not a whole lot being reported throughout the West Coast here, folks. That includes Oregon. Around Sheridan, Oregon, a 19-kilometer deep 1.6. Somewhat related here to the Cascadia subduction zone. We have been seeing quite a bit of tremor up and down the Cascadia recently. One earthquake here north of Mount St. Helens, Mossy Rock, Washington, 7.8 kilometers for a little bitty small microquake there. Throughout the Intermountain West, up through Idaho, only a couple small earthquakes on the Sawtooth Fault System and outside of Helena, Montana. Some movement outside of Salt Lake City. Nothing spectacular going on at Yellowstone. We'll check out the seismograph station here in a little bit. I was just looking at my text message. Missy Mimi said to tell everyone hi. So that is a big shout out from Missy Mimi's. A couple obligations here with her business going on, so she's not able to join me on the live stream. I know, I'm pretty sad. I like it when she's here too. She definitely adds a little bit of humor and correct pronunciations, right, when it comes to certain, certain stuff, like Corrine, Utah. Is that even correct? All right, guys, moving on, West Coast, some activity outside of the Pyramid Lake, Nevada area once again, and a little spotty activity up and down the eastern part of the Sierra Nevada once again. That includes Long Valley Supervolcano and down through the Ridgecrest region. No major swarms to report in or around the Garlock Fault Zone or the San Andreas Fault area. This is a couple creeping section quakes, creepers I should call them, there on the creeping section of the San Andreas Fault over the last 24 hours, but no major seismic swarms taking place here in anywhere in California. This is all typical movement here along the San Jacinto Fault Zone and the segments. Low activity just off the Elsinore Fault System as well. But again, no major fault or no major swarms to take note of. Same for Texas, now in Oklahoma, right? Texas earthquake country and tornado country. Only a couple small microquakes earlier today. No subsequent large-scale movement anywhere to report out through the eastern part of the country. Puerto Rico area looks about the same as it did in this morning's update, right? Not a whole lot of new movement to report there around the Caribbean area. Some movement off the coast of El Salvador and Nicaragua area, 4.6. And one way out here in the northern East Pacific rise, almost a 5-pointer at 4.9. They're at the default level for the fleet boundary here, 10 kilometers. South Sandwich Islands, we did see one this morning there at 5.1, but no further movement to take note of in that area. The big island of Hawaii, what do we got going on out there in the beautiful big blue Pacific? One earthquake in the last hour. This is another area that I monitor on the live seismographs. I've been seeing quite a bit of earthquake activity around the Alea Permanent. So I haven't took any screen captures, but I'm going to start doing that now and kind of take note of if these guys are being transparent here and producing and uploading the data to the public in terms of notifications on the earthquakes here that are going on around Mauna Loa and the Big Island. So, I don't know. Transparency is very important to me. I think that builds trust throughout the community, especially with a government organization, right? We want to be transparent, and I hope they do too. 2.3 latest quake. Other than that, these guys aren't showing anything left, too much happening there on the map. Yellowstone National Park, we'll go ahead and jump into that here in a little bit, or actually right now. This is the recorded data, right? This is the raw data. Looks like just a bunch of lines, right? Well, I don't see a whole lot of earthquake activity out here at all. Maybe a couple small spikes on the register on the seismograph, but other than that, man, nothing going on there at Yellowstone National Park at all. The PNSN network, that's the tremor monitoring folks. Check this out, 646 epicenters again throughout the Cascadia subduction zone. This has been an ongoing deal here for about a week now. I want to take you back here. Let's go to week's time frame. I think it's gone past that, but we'll just pull up the week of activity and show you guys the movement that's taken place here on the Cascadia subduction zone. This is just a week time frame. Look at that. That's a pretty significant number of tremor, and it's not just confined up there to our typical ETS slip region, right? A lot of people talk about the 13 or 14 month recurrence interval of tremor. Well, this is not only up there, but it's also on a broad scale throughout the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone as well. Stand by for a second. I'm trying to keep my voice treated with some water. But yeah, look at this, folks. My throat, not my voice, but it does help out. Does help out my voice, let me tell you. Definitely a large-scale movement, ongoing event throughout the Cascadia subduction zone right now. A couple areas are missing out, but this is definitely a good coverage of the Cascadia as a whole. What it means, it's hard to say. All I know is that this activity is getting closer and closer together when it comes to these swarms of tremors. Notice these lines up here represent, the higher they are, the more tremor count per period. And if you go back since about 2010, when it was records were, started keeping there, we've noticed definitely an amplified area. It seems like since about 2000, maybe about 2018 or so, we started to really see movement pick up here along the Cascadia and really ramp up in terms of being close together. These little quiet periods are getting less further apart, meaning that these active events are getting closer together. And that's kind of what we've been seeing here, really close here in 2022. So it's something to watch pretty closely. I did check the tremor log here, and a lot of times these folks put out interesting articles, but the latest activity way down here on the map, or on the chart here, is from Professor Ken Krieger. Hopefully I didn't slaughter that. There goes my USGS career. Looks like back in April 6, 2022, the latest blog post for this ETS was November 4, 2021. It ended with a question: is the ETS over, or will a section of southern central Vancouver Island light up? See, they're always talking about Vancouver Island. They don't really look at the Cascadia as a whole, because what's going on in the southern end could affect the Cascadia as a whole in terms of a complete full rupture. So nothing really noted here in terms of recent events. April 6th, early April of this year is the last event. Here's some of the tremor activity. It swarms, and I'm not for sure if they are. It looks like these guys may be looking at the southern end as well, at least on this map with the latitude adjustments. And it kind of shows how it's really been ramping up here. Looking back in 2021, had seen a massive amount of tremor down here. And if I'm reading this right, towards the southern end of the Cascadia, and overall just general uptick in tremor activity throughout the entire region. So I'm hoping they put out another one. I may email these folks and find out, see what these guys are thinking. Either way, it's up there for a little period of time last month. I believe that they weren't showing any tremor because they were hiding it. But I think they had some type of technical errors going on there with the uploading of the system of the tremor activity to this map. And it looks like they've gotten it fixed, because we've been seeing that activity really ramp up here and been pretty consistent in terms of them showing the tremor. So that's this here is still 1 week time frame, 4,306. So how does this compare to last year in tremor activity? Well, we'd have to take probably we could always go like here from the end of the year up to about May 25th. We'll just check that out here and see, and kind of get an indication. We'll compare a couple of years here. This time frame last year, right, from about the 1st of 2021 to about May 25th, 2021, we had about 29,000 epicenters of tremor, and that's a pretty good swath of coverage right there along the entire Cascadia subduction zone. And far as this year goes, we've got to come up here. We'll go right about there up to today's time stamp, and we'll check this out. So 29,000 last year compared to, well, about 23,000 this year. A little bit less, but I still think this this period of activity that's getting closer and closer together is pretty important. And no doubt we'll continue to monitor it and see what becomes of it. Yeah, we did earlier this year. We definitely had a pretty large quiet spell, but there's no doubt that has ended. All right, let's go ahead and check out Mount St. Helens and see what we got for any activity at the volcanoes there in the Cascade. That includes micro-quake activity, which I think is important to monitor as well. And there you go, guys. Here we go. I don't think I need to point out anything here in terms of earthquake activity. It's obviously there on the chart over the last couple hours. Here is the morning time frame and afternoon. A little bit of activity, right? See, this is what I'm talking about. When there's earthquake activity, it should at least be reported. No matter how small the micro-quake activity is, it should still show up on the supposed transparency USGS site or the PNSN network. And these guys here still, they only have one earthquake here from yesterday, or a couple days ago now. And then prior to that, there was nothing, according to them, for 10 days, 2 weeks almost. And we all know that is not the story. That's not the truth. That is not the facts. So we'll continue to monitor the activity, no doubt. Real quick, let me we'll get to solar weather here in a little bit. There's a little article put out here, and I'm sure you guys heard about it. It's about 2017, 2018, in terms of two stars that are supposedly going to merge sometime this year in 2022 and produce a pretty cool red nova. Pretty much a first of its kind prediction of a red nova, which could be visible to the naked eye this year. But looks like a new study put out. And the reason why I'm kind of putting this out is because I've seen a couple of YouTube channels out here claiming that this is going to happen this year. But looks like a new article was put out. And this is back from 2018. It doesn't look like it's going to happen as planned. Looks like there was a couple errors and whatnot in the predictions, and they're analyzing of the events, which kind of threw off this entire thing. Looks like it was based off of apparent decay of KIC, and this number right here. But as far as two stars merging in 2022, doesn't look like it's going to occur, folks. I mean, I've gone through a couple different articles, and these guys, you know, there's a couple of them back in 2017 that were prior to the prediction, or right around when the prediction was happening, prior to the news that it won't happen. They talked about how this could be a naked eye object and appear in the constellation Cygnus area right here, which would be pretty bright, similar to the Big Dipper type stars. But that's obviously not going to happen according to the most recent articles. And I'll include a couple of these links here so you guys can read them yourself. But yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, unfortunately. I would love to see something like that happen in the nighttime sky with these you know, it doesn't matter these two stars or any stars. It would be awesome. I enjoyed back in, when was that? Comet Hale-Bopp. You guys remember that? Kind of giving my age out. I was a little bit younger back then, but I remember it vividly. Comet Hale-Bopp being up in the sky for months. And you didn't need any binoculars, didn't need any telescope. You could see it clear as day, and it was like being in a movie. I admired my days back then, just observing the sky and seeing that awesome feature up into the heavens with Comet Hale-Bopp. 97, I believe it was. I'm wanting to say 97, 96, somewhere around there. Either way, it was a spectacular event, and man, I miss that. I wish I had the camera gear that I have now, because I would have no doubt been taking some awesome pictures. But I was just kind of in my late, when was it? 1920, somewhere around there, 21, I think, maybe prior to that. But at least I still have that image in my head, and that's kind of what's important, is remembering those memories. Okay, so a G1 storm conditions were matched up earlier. We had a KP index right around the 5 kick up here. A little bit of auroras kicking up at the higher latitudes from a CME. And a glancing blow, a glancing blow from a CME, and some of this activity is being picked up from a coronal hole as well. So a little bit of amplification, a combined space weather event, if you will, creating some of these KP index 4 and 5s that you see here on the map. Looks like these guys are still predicting that overnight, and obviously we are still at those current conditions. And could see some auroras up there around the higher latitudes at 50% chance. Looking at the latest data here on the chart. Stand by for just a second. Yeah. There we go. BZ tilt was starting to tilt to the south a little bit. Looks like density is kind of tapered off a little bit more, but we're still looking at some speed here. This is the speed kms per second of that solar wind coming up, creating those conditions. A little bit of amplification there in the temperature index as well. And it looks like that's continuing, at least for right now. And that could be a pretty cool thing if you're up there in the dark. Everything is still not light. Alaska is still lit. still light out here in the West Coast. So there's the aurora forecast probability for those over there on the other side of the Earth, the unlit side. Could be seeing that there at those locations as well. But possibly up here, looks like around the Greenland, Iceland area, getting in on some auroras as well. Lucky them, right? Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever see them here in California, so I'm going to have to make that trip one day up north to hopefully see those northern lights. I mean, I think that's pretty spectacular. Let's see what else we got here, folks. I think that is about it. Like I said, I kind of wanted to cover this about the stars possibly creating a supernova event, but yeah, I can't find any really new info on it. It looks like just, you know, they had concluded that this was not going to happen in 2022. At least for this year. You know, who knows if it's going to happen next year or the year after, but it's something we'll watch and monitor. I think it'd be really cool to see something like that pop up in the sky. Since I am a pretty big space weather type guy, and weather in general, space, yes, definitely. All right, guys. Like I said, I think that's about it. Can't remember if there was any questions that someone had chatted about here on some of my comments, but if I didn't get it on this update video, you're welcome to comment here on this video asking any questions, and I'll try to get to them. But for now, I'm going to sign off here. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening here, Friday night. A little crazy out here in California. Gas prices, man. So here where I live right now, the cheapest gas, I'm talking cheap Arco AM/PM type gas, is $5.75 a gallon for the cheap stuff. Chevron, which I'm sure that's known throughout the country there, Chevron gas is $6.39, I think, for the cheap stuff. $6.39 a gallon, guys. Cost me about $150 to fill up my Tahoe. Luckily, I don't have any storms to chase anytime soon. Otherwise, man, I might break the bank there going out storm chasing. All right, guys, have a good night. And again, a big shout out to the super fans that have joined this channel as members. You guys know who you are, and those works as far as new videos and new content going will be provided here soon, folks. Just bear with us because it is something we're just getting into, just kind of taking off right now. Have a good night. We'll chat you guys a little bit later. And again, Missy Mimi says hi, and she'll be back here real soon. Peace out, folks.